Hello, and welcome to podcast number 4 for Let's Be Honest. I am your co-host, Danielle Leibovich, creator of the Let's Be Honest groups, and co-host to my co-host, Lana Simmons, who is here with me.
Hello.
Hi, Lana.
Hey.
Hi. Please share with the wonderful listeners what you're bringing.
I'm actually have a co-creator of Size Human, yoga instructor, all that business.
And for those of you who don't know, Lana and I met as she is one of my former Honest group members in my Let's Be Honest transformative personal growth groups for women. And we hit it off so much, we wanted to keep the conversation going, and we decided to start these podcasts.
Yes.
I don't know about you, Lana, but I am really having a good time because it seems that oftentimes these podcasts are made for me as well. I don't oftentimes know what I'm going to say, and I play them back, and it's the exact advice I need to hear to apply to my life. That was my experience last week anyway, when we were talking on the importance of being heard. Mm-hmm. And we had said that when things get too heated, you cannot find clarity when your buttons are pushed. So when things get too heated and it's not going where either one of you want to go, you call a timeout, and you call it out, and you regroup.
Yes.
And can I just say, it was extremely effective.
So you've had this experience.
We had this experience, and I can tell you there is less damage to your house when you do it this way.
Yes.
I mean, no judgment, right?
Yes.
So for the sake of your home and the things you love in it, just call a timeout. Mm-hmm. So anyway, this week's topic is on acceptance, how we can accept more and resist less. So, of course, it's a big one. You know, of course, there's personal inspiration behind all these topics, which we will get to.
Yes.
Yes, so we will get there. But in the meantime, I wanted to share what the definition of acceptance is. Let's go back to basics.
Yeah.
So the definition I have for acceptance, to accept, is to be able or designed to take or hold something. And we, as human beings, are certainly able and designed to take hold of something. So why don't we? Why don't we oftentimes? Where is the resistance coming from? And I have a few theories, like I do. I think, we're in a situation where we have a lot of pressure to do a lot of things all the time.
Yes.
We talked about this on our first show, I think, about having a smartphone in our hands, having a computer, really makes us reachable 24/7 and makes the pressure to do a lot of stuff at once commonplace. I mean, remember the good old days where you went about your day and you checked your messages when you got home?
Yes.
And then the workday was over?
Yes.
So you naturally would just call them the next day or the day after that?
Yeah.
Yeah, long gone are those days.
Yeah, and I remember the voicemail, you actually had a tape. Did you have one of those, Danielle?
Yes.
It was actually a cassette tape?
Yes, and you know what would happen? Sometimes it would get full.
Yes.
And you could not leave a message. And you'd have to call back the next day.
Yeah.
And wait for that person to come home again and check their messages.
Yeah.
It was like another world, right?
Well, what's interesting is that we have all this instant, it's like an instant response, because it's instant now, where before it's almost like you would be upset that maybe you couldn't get a hold of that person, but then there would be an acceptance that you couldn't. So you'd usually have to set that off to the side and still live your life, where now...
Right.
It's like instant.
Yeah, now you take it personally. I mean, we even know that if we hear one ring and it goes to voicemail, we have been denied. We have literally, someone made the conscious effort to ignore that call.
Yep.
We didn't have that before.
Yeah, no, we didn't, right?
Oh my God, they did not just ignore my call. I'm calling back. I mean, right?
Or even texting, and now you can see if the text is read, or on
yes,
Facebook
exactly.
if it's, you know.
You can't hide. Everyone knows your business.
Yeah.
And they know the choices you're making all the time.
Yeah.
So with that said, so that's one area. I'm going to share my personal inspiration for this topic this week, and Lana, I hope you can share too what might come to mind for you. It was, it was a weekday morning, and the kids were off to school, and my husband had taken them, and I had 20 things to do on my list. And I had my intention for the day of everything I wanted to do the night before.
Mm-hmm.
But what ended up happening was I wasn't feeling it. I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know if it's because my son had woken up, the night before, and then when he went back to bed, my daughter had woken up, and it was a whole thing, and I wasn't sleeping well, which I know many mothers can relate to. But for whatever reason, I could not function well. And I tried to get into the zone, and I couldn't. So I decided to make the executive decision of taking a nap, which is like, it's like, it's ground shaking, for a busy mom to just stop her. What?
Yeah.
I don't even have a newborn right now. Like what gall did I have taking a nap in the morning on like a Wednesday? What?
Yeah.
And I literally decided, and I was fighting it, Lana. I was fighting. I was laying in bed. I'm like, I can't believe I'm in bed. Like, I literally can't believe I'm here. Like, I have to do a million things. Why am I here? I'm so tired, but I'm here.
Yeah.
And it went on like that, and I think I slept fleeting moments. But as soon as I said, you know what? I accept that I am too, for whatever reason, I'm not going to try to find out why. I just accept that right now I am too tired to function the way I normally do. And this nap seems more important, that I need to get something out of this more than anything else I have to do. And can I just tell you, Lana, as soon as I said that, I had energy.
Yeah.
It's like acknowledging where I was, that, no matter what happens in our life, when we're choosing to do something, there's something in it that we need. It's serving us in some way. And so this fatigue was serving me because I had it, right? If I had it, it was serving me in some way. The moment I called it out, I had the release. Yeah.
And just acknowledging that that's even what's going on with you, like that's a big deal right there, and not trying to deny, that I'm not tired enough to nap, or do you know what I'm saying? Those thoughts that go through
or why am I tired? Or I can't believe I'm tired. I mean, resisting.
Yeah.
And I still didn't get anything done, and I was still tired. So stop resisting.
Yeah.
So, so this was just a little small taste of what this can be like in many different areas of our lives. When we can see so clearly what our loved ones are doing, our children, our friends, that they keep knocking themselves in the wall the same way. It's so clear to us, but they don't see it. It's their journey to accept. It's their journey to accept. The expression, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Well, that reminds me of, actually, this was a bigger moment for our family. My husband is retired military. We've traveled all around. We've been very fortunate and grateful to be able to travel all around different parts of the world. And one duty station that he was stationed at was over in Hawaii. And that was actually my favorite base to be at. And a lot of people will end up going to Hawaii, and that at first you have that honeymoon phase where it's like all hearts and sparkles in the beach every weekend.
Right.
And then they're done. Because, and
but you still get laid, no?
Yeah, you do. You do.
I had to say it. I'm sorry. I know it's cliche. Okay.
No, you totally do. Right when you get off the plane, actually.
Right. And then it's over. Okay.
That happens quite a bit there, actually. So, a lot of people end up there they are there for about 6 months, and then they feel like they're on a rock because they get the island fever, right? Mm-hmm. But for us, no. I loved it. I loved being there. I loved the entire 3 years we were there. It was just wonderful. It felt like home, So then we ended up moving to our next base, and this is where he ended up retiring. And I kept telling him, I said, we come hell or high water, we are moving back to Hawaii. I don't care what you have to do, but you need to find a job in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And we tried, and it was like putting Hawaii in a headlock. Like, we will come back. And there came this point where it actually came to a point where I could see that it would be a huge financial strain on our family for us to make that choice. Mm-hmm. And I can't remember when it was, but I was talking to a friend of mine, and she's like, what if you let that go? Where else would you go? And I said, I don't know. I guess wherever his best chance of getting a decent paying job and us living a comfortable life would be. And when she asked me that question, it was like, well, you know what? Maybe that's not the be all end all. Mm-hmm. And once I accepted, it felt like I wasn't battling as much resistance. Mm-hmm. It
was kind of like you were missing the bigger picture.
Oh, yeah. And
right, because, what's the point of living in Hawaii if you don't have an income?
Yes. And, is it really then Hawaii? Mm-hmm. Then we'll be living homeless in Hawaii, which really wouldn't be good for
Not
anybody.
As appealing, yeah.
No. So it was really interesting but for me to let go of that dream and of that goal, this is what is because this is where I felt good, letting that go and actually thinking, well, where does he actually have the best chance? Where do we have the best chance to be comfortable? And that's how we ended up here, over in Virginia.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean you might not end up in Hawaii. It just might mean you might need to do this first. And hello, Lana, if you were not here in Hawaii, would we not be speaking together right now, starting this fabulous podcast? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So thank you, world, for sending Lana to Hampton Roads and not letting her have her wish just yet.
Yes. Yes. Oh, and that was a really hard one because, you think once your significant other retires from the military that you could just go wherever easily. Mm-hmm. And, it just wasn't the case.
Yeah, and also, listen, you and I, we're cut from the same cloth, and we believe that, to some extent we create our realities.
Yes.
We really have the energy. We have the ability. So if you're honing in on something like you were, and you were focused on Hawaii, why wasn't it working?
Yeah.
But sometimes when you become so rigid,
yes,
it's not serving you anymore.
And it was very rigid. It was a very rigid belief that this is the only way.
Yeah.
And it really cut off because that's where I believe the only opportunity was. And that's not true. And, that wasn't, it just wasn't what was going to be best for our family.
Yeah. And what do you think? I mean, now that you're here and you're going back to that girl you were a few years ago, what do you think? What's your perspective now?
That is a great question.
We are live. Go.
That is a great question. I would have to say that I really don't think things would have turned out as well as they did if I had forced that move. I really think we're very fortunate to have a really good school for our kiddos. I did a lot of unraveling of who I thought I was at the base where my husband retired at. It really was an unraveling of who I thought I was. Mm-hmm. And you know, and I thought that if I had made our family move back to Hawaii, I would be fixed.